It's David Arquette, Dewey from the Scream movies, as you know. Remember, there's only one rule to surviving a horror movie, and that's subscribing to Craven'S Something Scary.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, visitors, subscribers, patrons, and Cravenites. Welcome to Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Well, guys, here we are on another Saturday night, but not just another Saturday night. No, a very special Saturday night stream because I have a very special guest joining us in just a matter of moments. You know, this month in August is Wes Craven month. Every year on the channel, well, this is only my second year, so every year, last year and this year and moving forward is Wes Craven month. As you know, he was born in August. He passed away in August, of course. And so while really every single day, the name of my channel, Craven, is my honor to him as my favorite filmmaker. But more than that, in August, we really pay special recognition with multiple watch parties, tribute videos, interviews, all kinds of things. Folks that have worked with Wes, and I'm very excited tonight to introduce my guest to you. And he actually has worked on so many movies, not just horror films. I mean, incredible catalog of work. I call him a legend in the field, and if you look and see the movies he's worked on, you'll see why. And he also, though, did work on Wes Craven's Red Eye. And I'm very excited because this is actually the first time I've had the pleasure of meeting someone that worked on Red Eye, which is one of my favorite Wes Craven films. It's horribly underrated. It is so well done. And more people need to know about that movie than currently do. That's why I ring the bell for Red Eye every chance I get. But tonight, I'm so excited to talk to him about that. Some of the movies we're going to talk about tonight, if time allows, of course, Red Eye, that's front and center. But, we're going to talk about movies like Insidious as well. His work on Insidious Chapter 2, the House on Haunted Hill remake in 99. And for those of you old schoolers like myself who grew up on the 80s horror films, guys, this will excite you. The House on Sorority Row, not the new one. No, 1982. That's what I'm talking about. This is going to be super duper special. And Scott also, even though it's not horror, I didn't tell him this backstage, but one of my guilty pleasure movies that I love to watch is Police Academy 6. And he actually worked on that movie too. So if we have a little time at the end, I'm going to get off horror for 5 minutes and talk to him about that. Or if not, maybe we'll bring him back another time. But I just blew my mind when I saw Police Academy 6. Anyway, guys, I've said enough. I don't want to waste any time. I will say one last thing is that submit your questions now for Scott. All right. If you have a question about these movies I just mentioned, I know you guys are familiar with all of them. So send in your questions now. Of course, as you know, when we're on limited time and guests and things like this happening, we won't get to every question. It's not really practical. I will do my very best. But if you want to send a super chat in, I promise you this, I will get it up front and center for Scott to look at, to address it. And every single one of those will be addressed before we end the stream because you move to the front of the line. All right. You're getting priority treatment because I want to make sure he sees those. So you do have a way to do it. Don't feel like you have to. But if you'd like that burning question asked or answered rather about these films, you have a way to get it in. All right. That's how you do it. All right, guys. Well, listen, I want to introduce right now Scott Leva. He is, again, a legend. Listen to this number. I just want you to let this sink in for a second. There are over 150. That's 150. 150 film titles Scott has worked on in some capacity in his career. be it a stunt performer, an actor, a stunt coordinator, whatever it is, or it's in some capacity. That's the volume we're talking about, and that's not even including his television work. I mean, it's phenomenal. So that is the treat you're in for tonight. So, guys, please welcome to the stream. I'm very honored to have him, and he agreed to come spend time with all of us for a little bit tonight. Please welcome to the stream, Scott Leva. Scott, welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
It is, again, an honor to have you, my friend. It's just a real treat. This is a real treat. So, very excited to get into our discussion tonight. So how about this, Scott? If I may just, before we get into the thick of things with the films, I always like to find out, because I find it fascinating how things begin, right? The origin story, if you will. So I would like to ask you, looking back over your incredible body of work, you had a point where you started, and could you just kind of walk us through how that began for you? Like, how did you begin this amazing career from day one?
Well, as far back as, I guess, the age of 6, one of the first movies I saw when it was televised was The Great Escape.
Mm.
And watching Steve McQueen, at the time I didn't know there was such a thing as stunt people. Bud Eakins was his double. But I just thought that was the coolest thing, and I always wanted to be an actor. So as far back as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things my whole life kind of up and downs, but I'd always had that in the back. After college, I moved to New York to pursue an acting career.
Okay.
And I was always a gymnast. In high school and college, I was on the gymnastics team, competed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a gym in New York called Sutton's Gym. And I would work out there, and sometimes I would teach classes, and a whole bunch of stunt guys would come in and be working out. And I thought, oh, this is really cool. And I befriended the stunt guys, and one thing led to another. And they said, wow, you got these great skills. And I figured, okay, I can do that on the side. By the way, it's not a side job, but little did I know.
Right.
I had a manager at the time who kind of took over my stunt career, which was a mistake. He did some really boneheaded things, but it's neither here nor there. Once I got into the feel of it and started really developing it, the acting kind of went sideways. I would still once in a while get an acting gig. I did some off-Broadway and a lot of off-Broadway.
Okay.
But I would be doing various film and TV shows when they were in New York with the big New York guys. Vic Mignogna, Jerry Hewitt, Harry Madsen. I would be constantly working movies like Club. Now, before I met them, I auditioned for a movie that's actually kind of famous. You didn't mention, but don't worry about it. I went in and I didn't get it, but I asked if they needed a stunt performer, and they said, yeah. So I made a deal with them, and I ended up being the stunt coordinator very early on a movie called Mother's Day.
Okay.
Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah. So while we were shooting that, right up the other side of the lake, they were shooting Friday the 13th, which I had no idea about.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we were doing Mother's Day, and at the end of the film, they have this creature jump out of the bushes. It's called Queenie, which there's a legend about Queenie. And at the end of the movie, you actually see, well, I was Queenie, because since I was a stunt performer, they put me in the makeup, and I'm the one leaping into the bushes. So that was one of my very early jobs.
Nice.
And then from there, I kind of segued into others. And stunt guy, very famous stunt guy that I still kind of idolize to this day, is a guy by the name of Dar Robinson. Dar was a world record holder in many things, world record high falls and other things, and just absolutely brilliant. And he kind of gave me that go West young man speech, and I ended up moving out to California, starved a bit there, and kind of tried to segue back into acting, but one thing sort of led to the other, and long story short, stunts sort of became my livelihood.
Oh,
so that's
wow.
like 40 years of experience in a very short little.
That's amazing. Wow. And did you get a sense like as you began, because, and again, House and Sorority Row, we'll get to that in a little bit later, but, in those earlier days, right? And did you get the sense as you started working on like Superman, right? Superman 78, I believe, correct?
Superman, I worked with a guy by the name of Alex Stevens, and Alex brought me in and called me his protege.
Wow.
There was one sequence on New York Street where we're supposed to be walking in front of the Daily Planet, and Wes just asked for a whole bunch of people. And at one particular sequence, even though I was a stunt man, I'm actually walking by camera, so I'm on camera. It's real brief,
Nice.
and if you knew me, I was a blonde back then. I was dyeing my hair, thinking that I would kind of do that Robert Redford thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyone who knows me sees it. Oh my God, there you are! So a
That's
couple of
great.
movies I did stunts on, they ended up throwing us in the background because they were shorthanded and we were on the payroll. So what the hell? And that was one of them.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
And that gives you more, and I would imagine the more you did these projects and again, some of them got to be, some are really huge, major productions as well. Did you get the sense like, I don't want to say confidence because I think you sound like you were very confident already in your talents, but more of a feeling like I'm getting there, like in the industry, like the need, right? Because it's a network, right? A lot of it is networking with stunt coordinators, right, and different filmmakers. I know, like a lot of times, directors are loyal to certain crew.
Hmm.
Stunt coordinators like to bring certain people that are, do good work and things like this. Did you find yourself in the, kind of like connecting with certain coordinators and working on multiple projects with
Yeah,
them?
early on, I got to meet up with and get to associate with various stunt coordinators.
Hmm.
Um, and I was always on their list of people to work with.
Excellent.
Yeah, Vic was kind of the main one. Vic McNaughton had his group of people, and I worked with them.
Okay.
Um, Alex was good. They were kind of competing. There were two associations: the East Coast Stunters Association and Stunt Specialist. And
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, so yeah, I was in a position of getting to work with. I mean, I was getting to work on a whole bunch of movies like Cotton Club and early on Superman and just a whole variety of things. Soap operas were like a whole big mainstay. I mean, soap operas were big in New York.
Hmm. Hmm. And soap operas, that's a year-round gig, right? Like that's like, I mean, essentially, that's not like 9 weeks or 8 weeks and you're done.
No,
Uh,
it's something that if you're a part, I had a recurring role on. I think it might have been One Life to Live. I ran the flying pizza parlor,
oh, okay.
and not yes, what it
Nice.
was called. I was Jerry, and I ran that. And anytime, so maybe once or twice a month, or three times a month, I would come in and have one line or something. But
Oh man.
the leads on the show are the ones that work 24/7, 7 days, 5 days a week.
True, true. That makes sense. You're right. That makes sense. But my goodness, what a nice way to live though, as far as you're getting food on the table, right? You got that, you've got your movies, and you're
Hmm.
you're keeping the consistent work. And now that's a big thing, right? And when you're in this industry, because
Yeah,
you're
no,
not on a
I've been able
yeah,
to eke out a decent living
yeah,
early on. So yeah, it
that's
was
great.
yeah.
Well, guys, how about before we get into Red Eye, which is where we're gonna start turning our focus to next, and then some other films. I've got a clip here, and I know you guys are gonna be excited to see this. This is a clip that, and real quick, Scott has a website. Polar, thank you so much. One of my moderators has already put
Actually, it's
a
just
link.
precisionstunts.com.
Oh, precisionstunts.com. Okay, we'll get that corrected.
Yeah,
That's my bad. So Polar, we'll get that changed if you would to precisionstunts.com.
let me get.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, we'll get that fixed. So that way you guys can visit Scott's site as well. And one of the real stunt reels there you're going to see is this amazing clip. Now it's going to have some different music when you see it on his website, because you guys all know YouTube. You guys, my audience knows how YouTube is. So it's a little bit different music, but I want you guys real quick to watch this brief little stunt reel to see Scott in action, because Scott, one of your specialties is the high dive, right? The
Oh,
high jump.
yes.
And I'm telling you, and I mentioned to Scott backstage, that is not in my DNA in any capacity. Heights freak me the heck out. I cannot even imagine just going, just jumping, going for it. But guys, check this out. We'll be right back and enjoy this amazing reel of Scott in action and some films that you'll know the films. Check this out. Wow.
That's a, I think for airbags, that was my high fall reel.
Okay.
Let me see
Oh,
if I can, on YouTube, there's a stunt reel, and I'm trying to see how I can, that has
okay.
explosions and fire, and
Ooh.
it's not showing up here. Let me
Okay.
see what
Yeah.
happens if I send
If
it to, let me send it to
yeah.
my daughter. Hold on.
No problem. No problem at all. And
All
Polar,
right.
thank you for that. That is the correct link. Thank you, Polar, for getting that fixed for me. There it is, www.precisionstunts.com, guys. When this stream is over, definitely go visit. It's some great stuff here. Great stuff about Scott, and some work he's done, even off of stunt work, and we're going to talk about that as well. Very important work that he's done in his career.
Okay, let me hold on. There we go. So let me put this in the private
Okay.
chat here.
Yeah, because I can share the link here.
Yeah, this is
So
on
everyone,
YouTube, so they don't. There's no.
wonderful.
There you
Okay,
go. So
great,
this, they're not going to block out music because it's just drums.
wonderful. Okay, this is the link here. All right, I'm going to share this for everyone to see so that you can bookmark this. Okay, excellent. Man, watching those high dives though, oh my word! One word kept coming to my mind is ouch. Ouch. Oh my gosh. Of course, you're a pro. You know how to do it the right way. But man, woo, boy. I admire your work so much. I could not do that. I just couldn't do it. Now here we go, guys. This is the link here. So bookmark this link, and then I will see here in a minute if I'm able to incorporate it into the stream, and we might be able to play it even here live. But if I run into any technical issues, that's the link right there. So you guys can all go watch this reel, his full reel. And I think I know the one you're talking about. I believe I saw that one with the drums, like the drums on it.
Yeah.
Um, yes. It's great. It's fantastic. Um, so let me see. As we're talking here, I'll work on that in the background here to see what I can do. But Scott, before we dive into Red Eye, and I know I said we're going to go there next, but there is one thing I'd like to share with our audience tonight. Is in addition to your incredible work as a stunt performer, stunt coordinator, second unit director, all the things that you've accomplished, which is amazing. But one thing that you're also very passionate about was making this stunt work safer, right, for the
Mhm.
industry. And you've been leading the charge with this to the point that you won an Academy Award and an Emmy Award for your work. That's how significant your impact has been for your technical achievement for this design of the precision stunt airbag. And I know this is very personal for you based on your story. I understand the story and your origin. Would you like to share with the audience that may not know kind of what your passion was for starting to making these high falls safer by literally designing and developing your airbag, which is incredible. By the way, I've seen how it works.
Oh yeah. As a stunt guy, you kind of take some things for granted early on. You take for granted that your equipment's going to work, and everything kind of just depends on how you hit it and what you do, whether it's an air ram or a ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older and more experienced, you realize that certain things, like if you're doing on the reel, you see me falling on top of a car, that's on a cable system. I'm a passenger. As cool as the stunt is, and it's a stunt to do it, I'm a passenger. And if something goes wrong, I have no control. So that's out of my hands. An air ram, you have to hit it right. A ram is the pneumatic that you step on it throws you through the air, forwards, backwards. Airbags, they were kind of like an air pillow. They, if you didn't center punch the bag, right in the middle, sometimes it could kind of turn over, it could lift up and bounce you out. So the job on the airbag was to hit its center. And I didn't always realize that. And we always took it for granted. We started having injuries. We had quite a few stunt people severely hurt, in many cases killed. There was a Wes Craven film, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That is Wes Craven, right?
That is. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we lost a stunt girl on that.
Oh, my gosh.
From 50 feet. She hit the edge of the bag. The bag was pushed up against the wall. It bounced out. She slammed her head into the back wall, and 4 days later died of severe head trauma. One of my best friends at the time was a man by the name, that was Sonia Davis.
Wow.
But dear friend of mine, Paul Dallas, was making airbags at the time, and he was interviewed by Premier Magazine about it, about what he thought happened and what went wrong. And about a year later, almost to the day of that interview, Paul did a high fall, hit the edge of the bag, and went to the ground, and he was killed.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sadly, these things happen in our industry. And I thought, okay, there's something wrong with this, that if you're off center, because sometimes you can do some weird falls and you can be off center, but the bag should be in a position that always catches the performer no matter what. So I started studying the airbags. I checked the baffling system. I checked how it was lined up. I checked the airflow system. I'll give you a little science here real quick. Airbag, they have a top and a bottom. Okay. On the bottom part, the air goes in and it's a bumper. On the top part, the air pushes. Now you got air pushing in, and then it circulates around. And then you got these baffles that go side to side. And the more you hit it, they start to kind of fold in. So now the bag that's in this position starts to do this. So when it becomes more of a ball instead of a tight bag, if you hit here, it's going to collapse. If you hit here, it can turn. Even in a windstorm, by the way, the bag would cartwheel. So I redesigned the baffling system to make the bag kind of really hold tight. Okay. And I changed the airflow system so the air always going up and surrounding the bag, so that when you hit it, the bag tends to envelop around the performer. So you've got a tight bag that when you hit it, it folds in. And even if you're way off center, and I'm talking way off center, so long as most of your body mass is within the impact area of the bag, you're fine.
Wow.
So I redesigned that. He passed away in 97. I think I finished the first test bag probably 99. And then after much work and so forth, it was then presented to the Academy.
Wow.
There are about 36 stunt people alive today that have hit the bag so wrong they should be dead or not walking.
My goodness.
That's one of my big prides.
Wow.
And I was fortunate enough to receive the Scientific Technical Achievement Award. So basically, I am an Oscar winner. Yeah.
That's right.
Now that's from the Emmys. I later got a call from the Emmys and saying that they were going to award me the same sort of scientific. And I thought, hey, that's fine, great, I'll take an Emmy. So
sure, I'll make space on my wall. That's no, in all seriousness, that is, I applaud you, man. That is 36 lives that potentially wouldn't be with us today because of what you did. And what a way to honor those that have that had fallen before.
Now,
And
side story
yeah.
is the presenter at the SciTech Awards that night was Rachel McAdams.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And when I went up
Yeah,
to the podium to receive my
yeah.
award, she said, "You know, it's a pleasure to meet you." And I said, "We've met before." I was one of the stunt safety people on Red Eye, and I had set up small airbags and pads. She says, "Oh, that was you. Well, that's great. I'm glad you were there." So,
That's so cool.
yeah.
What a small world that is. That is
Mm.
awesome. And again, guys, I know I put up briefly, but here again is Scott at the Oscars. That's just phenomenal. You know, as far as giving awards go, I can't think of a more important Oscar award than that, because that is saving lives, and that's incredible. And my hat's off to you. And I know that, you know, your friend, you know, he's no longer with us. I know he's smiling down and saying, "Well done, Scott. Well done."
Well, it was
That's
definitely dedicated to him, and even at the
yes, yes.
SciTech Awards, I put a big shout out to him that it wouldn't be here if not for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew, man, what a way to, because that's why I want to talk about this up front, because it's the most important thing. Nothing's more important than human life, and the fact that you've been able to do this makes the whole industry safer for the next generation, the ones, you know, that are coming up new and young now coming into the industry. That's, you know, that's just, they're going to benefit from that for years and years to come. I mean, decades. So wow, that is amazing, and just what an honor. And I'm sure every time you look at your Academy Award and your Emmy, it's got to make your heart warm, man. It's got to be something to be very proud of. So, well, let's go ahead then. And wow, it's hard to follow that up, man. That's so awesome. Now, being that it's Wes Craven month, I would love for us to start with Red Eye. And guys out there in the chat, I did watch Red Eye last year on August for Wes Craven month. We watched a watch party of it, and I could watch this movie any day of the week, any time of the year. It's that good of a film. It's a great thriller, and it's got the Wes Craven touch. The suspense is there, the pace is there. I mean, it's all there. It's all there. Now, Scott, you were one of Senator Keefe's bodyguards, I believe, correct? At the hotel.
Yeah, it was interesting that because I was working outside of the house sequence where she's being chased down, and Rachel, I think she climbs out a window if I remember correctly. It's been so long, and I haven't looked at the movie in a long time, so bear with me. And that's where I was doing a lot of safety where people were moving, and I was brought over to Wes, and Wes said, "Yeah, now he'll do." And so I was literally cast on the set to be one of the bodyguards, and
Perfect.
we were at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Warner Brothers? I don't remember the studio. Anyways, we were at a sound stage, and we had to run through the hallway as there was an explosion.
Yes, yes.
And I thought, okay, this is cool. So, you know, I had been on probably 2 weeks doing all the safety work and all the rigging. And then I got 3 days on the studio doing that. And I thought, okay, well, that's cool. There's my days. And then as we were wrapping, Joel Kramer, phenomenal stunt coordinator, came up and said, so there were two of us, me and Mark D'Alessandro, and he said to me, "So you'll be going to Florida?" I go, "Excuse me?" He said, "Oh yeah, no, we've got a shot in Florida, which is one of the main bodyguards, and Wes is going to have you do that." I went, "Oh, I got more work. Oh, good. Okay." That's all I thought about. I got more work.
Yeah.
So I was flown out to Florida, and we got to kind of pal around and stuff before we shot. And then we did the hotel sequence. And I didn't read the script because I wasn't in that area to where I was given a script. I was sort of talked through what to do.
Okay.
And there's this thing where we walk in and I look out the window and I see a missile coming at us, and I do that. And then Wes says, "Okay, I need you to look right at camera, and I just want you to look shocked and go, 'Oh shit.'" I went, "What?" Just look right at camera and then turn around. And I thought, okay, this is going to look silly. That's the one thing out of everything. More people, oh my God, I just saw you on TV. It was a close up of you. And I go, yeah. Let me guess. Red Eye. Yes, that was the movie. So it was fun. It was, the direction from Wes was literally just, I want you to look right at camera, totally shocked. I need big. And I went,
I
okay.
love it.
But I really thought this is going to look goofy as hell,
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Oh, trust me. To me,
I
you
see
did.
little memes of it. I see people
Mhm.
constantly post it. My daughter posted it on her Instagram page at one point where she saw it, and it's just so I got
Oh,
another week in Florida, which was nice, and
yeah.
I was watching The Master at work. I mean, I'm a fan, but I wouldn't put myself in the category as a fan as much as you are, as I enjoy his
Sure.
work. And I think, one of his movies that he did, which is the one, Meryl
I mean,
Streep,
music of the heart. Hmm.
Music of the Heart. It's Meryl Streep, right?
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Love the movie. You wouldn't see it as a Wes Craven movie in any
No.
way, shape, or form. And that's one of my favorite Wes Craven movies. I thought that Red Eye was off. And again, the guy created,
Hmm.
basically pop culture icon. Nightmare on Elm Street, for God's sakes.
Yes,
You can
it's
go down a
true.
list of movies,
Hmm.
especially with Hills Have Eyes. I'm guessing off
Ooh.
the top of my head.
Oh,
If I'm
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something that I'm wrong with. But the guy literally created something, Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, I'm bringing that up. Dear God, how long has that
Right?
gone on? And that's just been Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger, for God's sakes. It's just
Yes.
completely part of film history.
Totally. And pop culture, like you said. I mean, there was Freddy Krueger dolls,
Mhm.
toys. Freddy Krueger. I mean, it just
Mhm.
blew up, and it revolutionized the '80s horror. It
Yeah,
really did. It
anytime you
was.
mention horror, you either see the guy from Scream or Michael
Uh-huh.
Myers or Freddy Krueger.
Freddy
And
Krueger. Yeah.
sometimes the three together, and
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre guys in there, but not as much as those three. But they're the epitome of horror films. And when you think horror,
Yes.
Freddy Krueger, the
Hmm.
Scream Mask, and
Michael
Mike,
Myers.
you know,
I agree.
yeah,
Yep, and you got Jason lurking around there too, a
yeah.
little bit for Friday 13th, but I agree. And you've got Wes with Scream, you've got Wes with Nightmare, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then of course his first film, Last House on the Left, was nothing like that had been done before in
No, talk
'72.
about the epitome of horror movies.
Ooh,
So yeah.
yeah, it's so true. And so with your time on Red Eye, how long was would you say the shooting schedule like? What was that schedule like? I know you mentioned you had an extra week in Florida with that part. Was it your time total you would say you'd spent on the set?
On set, I probably spent about maybe 3 days on actual set in
Okay.
Florida.
Okay.
Mm, I mean, some shoots you're on for 14, 15 hours a day. I don't remember it being that long. I remember
Okay.
him being succinct, to the point,
Hmm.
easygoing, friendly. He was approachable. Um,
Yes.
but I wasn't the guy that was in charge. I wasn't the stunt coordinator, so I kind of just don't speak until spoken to sort of attitude.
Right.
Um,
Gotcha.
but I had admiration. I thought he was a good director. Watching him work, he knew his
Yeah.
shots. He knew what he wanted. As
Hmm.
again, I thought his direction to me was weird, but I didn't have a concept of the story, and I didn't even think it was going to end up on the movie. Um,
Right. Right.
but
It sure did.
oh yeah, it
So
was something he saw and something he went, wow, okay, this is what we're doing. And I listened and I got it the first take. We didn't have to do like 50 takes. I think he did a total of 3, but I think he ended up using the first one.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You
Yeah.
nailed it. And you're right. I mean, he and folks that I've been able to speak to that worked with him, like yourself, have all shared a similar theme with Wes. Like he knew what he wanted. He saw it up here. It was no question of like, well, what do I want to do? Right. He was very like and once he has that shot, he moves on. Like, I got it. That's what I wanted. We're good. Um, and a lot of people talk about the calmness on set when you were there those 3 days and observing, and when you weren't on camera, when you were observing. how would you describe the environment on the set of Red Eye?
Again, it was very easygoing. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like any rush. There didn't seem like any stress or so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Every director has his own style.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Steven Spielberg, in complete and total awe of Steven Spielberg. He would make stuff up on the sly, which would take us a day behind because he decided to change the shot, which was great
Right.
for us. More time, more money, more overtime.
Sure.
Clint Eastwood, to the
Mhm.
point, short days. Francis Ford Coppola, he would overly explain the action to you,
Oh,
and
wow.
kind of give you a whole sense of the story. I mainly worked with his son, who did the second unit on Cotton Club.
Okay.
He made a lot of mistakes. Like we were shooting, it started snowing, and he kept shooting, and it didn't work because it didn't match with the previous shot. And
Oh, yeah.
there were some coins that were supposed to be raining down, and he used Kennedy half dollars, and this was supposed to be 1930 something. So,
Mm.
um,
Yep.
so it depends on various directors I had worked with that, and Wes falls in that specific area of, he's a legend. He's somebody that's been around,
Absolutely.
created some stuff. I mean, you look at Eastwood, who I think is a phenomenal director.
True.
He's got a history. I mean, this is Dirty Harry. This is The Man with No
Mm-hmm.
Name. This is, Preacher. And I mean, so
Sure.
director or no director, you're dealing with, again, another living legend. Coppola, Godfather, say no more.
Right.
Um, so
Yes.
Spielberg from Jaws on. So, but he falls in that category for me as far as,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is different in their way. I had a really nice experience with Spielberg. I had a really nice experience with Eastwood. I mean, to get off track, I'll tell you this little Eastwood story if you want to hear it.
Please. No, go ahead. Yes.
We're on Flags of Our Fathers. It's my first Eastwood film. Buddy Van Horn has been his stunt coordinator, second unit director, and director. He directed Any Which Way You Can or Any Which Way We're Loose. One of the ones
Okay.
with Tang, Pink Cadillac, and Deadpool. Was it?
Oh,
What
yeah.
Deadpool? What is it? Was it called
Uh,
Deadpool?
yeah,
Deadpool.
Deadpool. Yeah, I love that movie. It's a really good one.
He
Yeah.
directed those.
Okay.
And anyways, he's got a great relationship with Clint. And I get a call from Buddy after I'm demonstrating air rams and stuff. And we're bringing all these young stunt guys in to do all the war sequences. And
Mm-hmm.
Buddy calls me and says, "Yeah, I want you to come out. I want you to be my, co-coordinator. When I'm on first unit, you'll be doing second unit. When I'm on second unit, you'll be first." I'm like, "Sign me up. Come on. This is easy."
Yeah. Sure.
We get out to Iceland, which is subbing for Iwo Jima, because the sands of Iwo Jima are black and the ones on Iceland are very similar. And it's first day of shooting. I'm thinking we're going to be there all day. They got this huge crane shot moving, and we're explosions, and then we got I don't remember how many stunt people. And long story short, he doesn't
Yeah.
mutate.
Oh, wow.
Down the road, we've been there now for 4.5 weeks. I'm told that I'm going to play this medic. And I go, "Oh, okay." So they suit up and they put what's called a tinsel effect. The tinsel effect is this thing that he also won a SciTech award for, which is this prosthetic they put on that they can hide the little squib inside and bring it down.
Okay.
And so I had to run out, get shot in the throat, and then fall down. And then Ryan Felipe comes out and tries to save my life. So Eastwood comes over. We're setting up the shot. And Eastwood goes, "Okay, you start over here. You get shot, you fall down." I go, "Okay." Buddy goes, "Here. You start here. You dance around. You get shot. You dance around some more. Then you land here." I go, "Okay, now I know. It's to A, B, C." We're getting ready to do this. I do the shot. They go, "Great. Move the camera." So we're set up now, and they've got the camera looking down on me over Ryan's shoulder. And Clint goes, "You're fighting to save his life, and you're fighting to stay alive." He starts to walk away. Ryan goes, "Wait." He starts to explain all this medical jargon of what he can do and how he can do it. Now, Clint's kind of doesn't really talk much, just this is it. So
Mm-hmm.
for like a good 35, 40 seconds, he's saying, and I would do this and this and this and this. And Clint goes, sure, fine. Now I'm confused. Oh, shit, this is a bigger scene than I thought. I go, excuse me. And our director of photography says, yeah. I said, well, I have a question. He says, oh, you want direction. So he calls Clint over. Clint goes, oh, yeah, Scott, right. Don't fuck up. And then walks away.
That's awesome.
That was my
Dang.
direction from Clint.
Oh,
He
that's
was
awesome.
like, look in the camera and go, oh, shit, don't fuck up. So kind of,
Man, dude, that's great. That's awesome.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And
Mhm.
of course, I don't know Clint Eastwood, obviously, but from what I've seen, like that so fits him. Like my mental image of from what I've seen of him, like I could totally see him doing that. Like it's
Yeah.
um that's great. Well, obviously you didn't. So
Obviously
you
not.
didn't.
Obviously not.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thanks for sharing that, man. That was awesome. Now, Two Boys has a question for you. Eric wants to ask Scott, when it comes to stunts, do they require rehearsal time for you?
They don't, not everyone does. I do. If it's a stunt and they're not going to pay us for it, I will set up an area. If it's a dangerous stunt, I will rehearse the hell out of it. Fight sequences need to be rehearsed. A smart director will give you the time and the effort to really work out to make the stunt work. It's good for them. It's good for us. When you work on low budget movies, Mother's Day, House on Sorority Row, those are kind of boom, 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 boom shot. There's no rehearsal time. You kind of do it on the set.
Okay.
Thankfully, there's nothing so big and so spectacular that you have to go, oh my God. But really big, out of the way stunts, you really want to work with it and make sure that it's safe, that it's accurate. The cameras know where they're going to be placed. Car work needs to be set up precisely. Fights, you've got to rehearse your fights. They have to be rehearsed.
Yep.
If you're using actors in the fights, the actors have to be there. Big budget films, which I love, not for the money, but the time, is you can spend weeks on a fight sequence.
Wow.
Wire work, you can spend weeks rehearsing, testing with weights and dummies, and then you can put the real people in it. So it's required when I'm the stunt coordinator to make sure the stunt people are prepared. And if it's a fight sequence, that includes the actor, because in many cases you can have the actor do the fight. Yeah, you want to rehearse it to death so nobody gets. Only time I've ever really been injured where I've gotten hit is invariably when an actor hits me. I've yet to be hit by a stunt guy.
Oh man, because they know, you guys know where to go, where to do it, where not to do it, right?
Yeah, actors can sometimes get so immersed in it. I had this little scar on my chin. I'm not putting the man down, Parker Stevenson. We were doing this sci-fi film. Maybe it was Legion. That was a horror movie, Legion.
Okay.
Rick Springfield was in it. Terry Farrell. And I'm pretty sure Parker Stevenson was in it, but he was in the midst of a breakup with his wife at the time, Kirsty. And he was on the phone, and you could hear the screaming. But there's a thing called an Irish whip where they swing your arm, and then they let go, and you do the flip. But he forgot to let go, so it stopped my rotation. I came straight down on my head and bit through my lip. Invariably, most of my scars and injuries, not all, but most, have been through an actor being off the mark, or just he had too much going on at the time.
He was probably distracted and not concentrating.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. Oh, ouch. That's well, now you've touched on that. Let's talk about that. This is not the fun stuff. Injuries over your career, obviously doing it as long as you have. I'm sure there are a lot of injuries of some varying degrees that you've gone through. Obviously, that's one there that sounds very painful. Can you kind of share maybe some other injuries you've endured for the sake of making this movie, or these movies you're on, believable and making it work as you've had to go through?
I can say in the over 40 years in the industry, I have never broken a bone.
Wow, though, that's awesome.
Never broken a bone. I have twisted my neck. I have thrown my back out. I've had some bleeding. I've had some cuts. My worst injury was stunt related with a stunt crew. It was a movie. What was it called? It was. It might have been Mars. Might have been the movie. Olivier Gruner, sci-fi movie.
Okay.
And there's a big barroom fight, and in the barroom fight, they're at a gambling table, and Olivier would always kind of take over. And Olivier would go, "Yeah, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that." And you go. I had this guy Dave Smith, and he had he had a prosthetic. He was missing his left hand, and his hand's supposed to be on the table, and Olivier's supposed to stab him in the arm, in the hand. And so I set up the whole stunt. So this gets to the stunt where I'm hurt. Bear with me.
Oh yeah,
and
go ahead.
Olivier goes, "Well, I wouldn't stunt. I would not necessarily go for the left hand. I go for the right." I go, "That's great, but his right hand is real." And I said, "No, I go for the right.
Oh,
His left hand is fake. His right hand is real. You can actually stab the left hand." "Well, I'd have to work it around because my fans believe." And I go, "Well, long story short, he finally got to do it." I had this sequence, which was also all part of it, when all hell breaks loose after he stabs the guy's hand, thankfully the correct hand. And I'm leaping through the air. This guy's trying to use a flamethrower, and Olivier leaps out of the way, and I get caught with a flamethrower. Asking about rehearsal. I rehearse the steps now. I'm getting caught on fire. The table has kerosene on it. When I hit the table goes up. The table is either going to go to the left, go to the right, go forward, or tumble down. I've got fire safety guys. I got one in front of me, one to the left, one off to the other side, one behind me, another one to the right, another one off to that side of the right.
wow.
I got all around me. And I walk through it. And I go, I hit the table and it's coming your way. Okay, this is a 3-second burn. The minute I'm lit, and the guy goes, "So as soon as you hit the table," I said, "The minute I'm lit, 1, 2, 3, before I even hit the trampoline and I'm in the air, by the time I hit that table and it goes up, whatever it does, it's a 3-second burn." Got it. So we rehearse it. Yes. This guy, that guy, this guy, that guy, doing great. Okay. On the day, I go across, I get hit with a flamethrower, I go up, I hit the table goes up, the cable starts to slide. 5, 6, 7, nobody's moving.
What?
Stunned by the stunt watching. I'm feeling heat now, starting to take the fire gel, and it's starting to dry it up. At the top of my lungs, I scream, "Put me the fuck out!"
Oh,
everybody was dead.
Ooh.
Now I have first and second, maybe a small little 3rd-degree burn, but I mean, my face is scabbing up. I go in, it's red and it's hurting. Interesting story there. Paul was working on that show. And I asked Paul, my friend that passed away, if he wanted to work for me the next night. Paul said that, no, he's going to go work for this guy he's going to set up an airbag for a high fall. He's going to do safety. I said, "Well, let someone else take the bag." He said, "Nah, I always work with." He called the guy, I remember his name. I can't remember it right now. Cole McKay, good stunt guy. Cole's, anyways, he would call him Uncle Cole, and he was always there because Cole would bring him in. And so Paul did not come the next day. And then at 2 a.m, I get a phone call from my wife the next night. She's, which I don't answer. And then the phone rings and it's the answering service. And they said, "Paul Dallas, something, something, something." And she was in tears. I couldn't make it out. And she finally said, "Paul missed the airbag." I went, "What?" And so here I am with this kind of scarred up, burnt face. Because people, it was an exciting stunt. They literally lost track and just were watching the stunt. Nobody moved. Wow. And then the next day I get the call that Paul missed the bag. And then we left. I closed down. I had somebody finish up the shots, ran to the hospital, and he probably passed away a half an hour before I got there. But this all mixed in between My wife finally got through to me. She had gotten on the phone and lied and said she was Paul's sister, and they were able to give her, and the information she was able to give to me, I knew he wasn't going to make it through the night anyways, but that was all kind of a mishmash of just kind of anything that could go wrong. I got burned, and that was the worst burn. I've never been burned since, but that was literally the worst, and it was just the stunt guy, not an actor, just literally was just mesmerized by the stunt. Because once I put actual fire to the stunt and not just the movement, and you go, they went, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Oh my word. And did that sideline you for I imagine a little bit of time, right? As far as being able to work.
Not really. I mean, I came in right away and I kept coordinating.
Okay.
And, I kept working. It was difficult. The face, once it healed, it scabbed up a bit. I think it took about 6 weeks to fully heal.
Okay.
Took any lines I had in my face away. It was kind of like a nice little peel. Yeah, that was the worst. I mean, but
okay.
I've had cuts. I've had stitches. My chin, as I said, from Parker. I've been banged on the head with a on one of the Toxic Avenger movies. He forgot his choreography and brought the broom straight down on me. The mop. Sorry, it was a mop. And that was the actor. But most of the stuff I've had where I've been banged up have been actor involved.
Wow.
When you teach them, for some reason, actors have a habit on a punch of leaning in instead of holding their ground.
Oh man. So I bet you're kind of like holding your breath a little bit with the actor and choreography, and kind of like, or I guess maybe keeping your eyes extra peeled, right? And trying to anticipate it.
The thing is, I came from a theater background, and I did a lot of sword work, and I did a whole bunch of stage combat, and it's the actors. You're doing Hamlet. It's your actors doing Hamlet, and they're doing a sword fight. And you work the beats, and you work the rhythms, and you train the actors specifically. And there are some movies that I mean, unless they're getting thrown through a window or over a table, that you quite frankly can, Olivier, to his credit, remarkable fight guy, 99% of the action was Olivier. Never got hit by Olivier, never got hit by him. And I never worked with Steven Seagal just because I heard the stories that you end up being a real punching bag. So I figured I don't need that.
Oh, no.
So there's not a stunt guy I know that hasn't told a story about literally being so. There were some that when you're given fair warning, you kind of say, I don't need to work on that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've heard, of course, not nearly like you've heard, obviously, but just as a fan, kind of on the outside, I've even heard the reputation that he has on set and stuff. So you're not the first person that I've heard say that about that particular individual. So that's smart, man. Like, no, I'll pass. I don't blame you. Fascinating. Well, thanks for sharing this. I know it's going down a painful memory lane there. We'll get on down to hopefully some better memories here, less painful. Now I'd like to touch on Insidious and Insidious 2, that and not only have you worked with my favorite filmmaker, Wes Craven, as we talked about earlier, but you worked on these two films, and they're directed by who is perhaps my most favorite modern filmmaker today, and that's James Wan. And I have mad respect for James Wan and his films. I think, like even Malignant a couple years back, one of my favorite films of the year. So I would like to first start with Insidious 1, obviously. Would you kind of walk us through your role there as a stunt co-coordinator? Maybe can you kind of peel back the curtain for us a little bit on that?
Yeah, movie? That was an interesting, I got to be honest with you, it was a low budget movie, and I'm talking super low.
Yes.
I did not know much about James Wan. Again, it was the same coordinator that did Red Eye, Joel Kramer.
Okay.
And Joel's big time. Joel is the Terminator 2 and True Lies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, and nobody knows your stuff better than Joel. He's an incredible stunt coordinator, second unit director. But he and James were friends. I forget the movie they had done together. I think it was with Kevin Bacon. I don't remember the name of it. I didn't work on that one, but
Okay.
Joel was busy at the time, and by busy I mean he also had a TV series, which was maybe it might have been NCIS LA or something. And the thing is, he trusted me, which was nice, to cover when he wasn't around or couldn't be. Now the pay on this was like $260 a day compared to the 900 and something
Oh,
dollars.
wow.
And it was a small cast and a small crew. But James has a remarkable vision, and he knows how to get around things. And the set is scary. By scary, I mean you get a sense of that what you see on the screen is what's there, because the little boy was terrified.
Wow.
We had the scene where the first time we see the red devilish kind of weird devil character come out. And
Yeah.
this kid didn't want anything to do with it, which is real, but it took us a good hour of downtime to communicate with him and try to get him to where he relaxed. And I used Superman as a thing. I doubled Dean Cain on Superman, and I showed him a picture and said, you know, I'm Superman as well. I'm here to protect you. Kind of calmed him down until the creature came out again, and the kid freaked out.
Wow.
But all in all, it worked out. He's a good horror storyteller. I mean,
Yes.
he's always wanted to move, and he has, and it's incredible that the man's gone on and done Fast and Furious, and he's done Aquaman.
Yep.
And he's done just some incredible work in his lifetime. And I feel very fortunate that Joel put me in the situation as a stunt co-coordinator to
Yeah.
work in, and he had.
Hollow Man. Is that the one, Scott?
No,
Is
it
that the
wasn't
movie?
Hollow Man.
Okay. Okay.
Hold on one second, Nick, because now it's bothering me.
Oh no.
Let me go to. Don't start up the IMDb.
I can look it up on my side too. Let's see.
Internet Movie Database.
Let's see.
James Wan search. James Wan. Yeah, I didn't know he did the whole. What was it? Saw. I mean,
Yeah, I saw, man. That's where I first, really got introduced to James Wan, and I was blown away. I still am. I think Saw is a masterpiece when what
there's
it
no
did.
question about it. There's no question about it. I thought it was James Wan.
I'm looking too. Kevin Bacon was in it, right?
I swear that Kevin Bacon was in it.
See, it would have been in the 2000s, right?
It was before we did.
Was it before Saw, you think?
No, it would have been after.
After Saw, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. He may not have been the director, and I'm thinking.
Okay. Okay.
Let me go to credits. Let me see.
I'm looking here. 2000. Let's see. After here. Let's see what we got now. The Woodsman? No.
Shoot.
Wow. Death Sentence.
It might not have been James Wan, so this tells you.
Well, it's understandable. It's a lot of a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. It's even if it wasn't James Wan, still.
Well, he had worked with James Wan before. Joel had.
Okay. Okay.
And I could have sworn.
Well, you know what?
James
Joel
Wan
Kramer.
Death Sentence.
Death Sentence.
Okay, and it was Kevin
Okay.
Bacon, and it was Death Sentence. It was 2007, and it was
All right.
Kevin Bacon, and They did some really good stuff on that, and James likes Joel.
Okay.
And anyways, that's how kind of I got associated with James, was through Joel.
Okay.
And then this nothing low budget movie, by the way, made a killing at the box office, and in return, so did everyone that worked on it. We were given small percentage points on the movie. And if it made over $30 million in the first week, we all got a sharing. And it made over 30 million in the first week, and we got all these
Nice.
checks from the producer, and it was one of the most profitable movies I worked on after the fact. When I just kind of figured, I've signed contracts with deferred payment and points before, and I've never seen a dime. And you know, those days are gone. Meaning that thanks to streaming and what the writers and us as actors and some people are on strike for, I mean, it's hard to eke out a living anymore. But yeah, I like James. He's very intelligent. But I was on that movie anytime they were stunts. I was on that movie full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long would you say, ballpark? Having said that, was it a pretty long shoot? Do you recall for that movie, or was it pretty quick?
It was pretty quick. I mean, it was a low budget. It was might have been 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure. Insidious 2 was a higher budget. I only worked on that a couple of days. But that was a fun film as well. And that was mainly Joel.
Okay.
But that was mainly Joel with doubles. It wasn't the type of work I had done on Insidious. The first one wasn't as necessary for me, but I appreciate him bringing him in for the second one.
Wow. And so a little inside story there. The young actor, I don't have his name in front of me, but the young actor who plays the boy was literally, bless his heart, terrified.
Screaming and crying. His mother couldn't calm him down. He didn't. I mean, the makeup on that creature, and even the creature comes over and says, "Yeah, everything's fine," but you got this scary creature telling him everything's fine. No, it's not. You know,
no.
It's like this shark coming out of the water in jars. It's okay. I'm not going to eat you. But whoa, you're like right in my face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, did he ever get better or more calm as the movie went, or did he stay like that pretty much?
No, he calmed down. That was the main one where he was being chased by the red, whatever he was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. I mean, it was scary. It was scary.
Very much. I mean, that's a movie that terrifies. I mean, a lot of people I know are scared of that movie. I mean, like some of my family who are more like mainstream moviegoers, right? They're not the genre heads like I am, and a lot of my audience is.
Okay, well, let me ask you a quick question here. Ringing about that. In your thoughts, historically speaking, what would you consider the scariest movie ever made?
Oh my gosh. That's really interesting question. It's a good question. It's a hard answer because, different things prompt different fears, right? And this is so complicated, and I'm probably overcomplicating it, because you have the one side of like I'm a slasher fan, right? All the slashers. There's a scary element there. Someone breaks in your house in a costume and they're coming to kill you. That's terrifying. Then you have the other side, which is like the religious possession, demonic story. That's terrifying in a different way, right? Freddy Krueger, you have to go to sleep, and that's so. To answer your question, and it's movies that have frightened me are generally these type movies, like more of the religious horror, possession horror, hauntings, that kind of supernatural. It's a better way to say it.
The thing that has sort of a realistic tone, because to me it would be The Exorcist.
Right. See, exactly.
Everlasting effect that
if
you're not religious, you see the movie and you're sleeping with a Bible under your pillow.
That's right.
It's the one movie that you're looking at something that is based on biblical folklore, a whole bunch of other things that you look at and you go, oh my God, can that really happen? Slasher stuff, yes, there's no doubt, that you can absolutely go, okay, yeah, that's scary. But there's something that you're not dealing with, something that throws you across the room by looking at you or spitting at
Yes.
you, that you're looking at something that, unless you're stupid and you don't go in that room, idiot, then,
Yeah.
the one to
Exactly.
me, doesn't mean everybody has to agree, but I would say
Right. Right. Right.
to this day, it would be very difficult. It's very difficult for me to sit through the movie again. So that's
Yes,
my
I
opinion.
agree.
Yeah.
So to turn that back to you.
Mhm.
So would you say that's for you? That's the one, the original
That's the
Exorcist?
one that,
Yeah.
Jaws, don't go in the water. Yeah, scared everybody from sharks. The
Right.
Exorcist, it was just something so incredibly
Mm,
realistically frightening,
exactly. So
that
unsettling.
you're dealing with satanic possession. I mean, even at the beginning
Yes.
where you've got the priest looking and going, oh my God, this thing has
Right.
escaped again. And then you hear
Mm,
stories of real possessions, and yes, you hear
yes.
people breaking in the house and cutting someone's throat, but I feel I have a better one-on-one chance with somebody coming at me than I do with
Right.
some sort of possessed thing that you've got no way to stop. So
That's
just
very true.
that's my
No,
thought.
you're no, I agree because if it's a flesh and blood,
Yeah.
well, bullets can penetrate skin.
Mhm,
There's a lot of other chances you've got. You're
mhm,
right. But if you're dealing with something that's not physical, it's immaterial, well, good luck. You're not gonna fight it. You're not gonna be able to physically do anything.
yeah.
And so I mean, you and I are actually, Scott, absolutely all locked together on that. I'm with you, 100%. Um, and of course, James Wan, he has a thing for that kind of stuff, and he
Well,
does
that's
it
where
really
that comes
well.
from. If you look at that, so you got this little kid looking at this demonic,
Hmm.
they go into this other worldly, and the father goes in, which
Yes.
also a terrifying movie, which is similar, is Poltergeist.
Oh yeah.
Weird little
Yes.
things that are taking the little girl disappears. And again, when you bring children into the picture, Linda Blair in The Exorcist,
Oh
and
yeah.
Heather in Poltergeist, and the
That's
little
right.
boys put into this situation that is just absolutely freakishly scary.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it is. I tend to shy away from watching. I like to stick with the man with the knife, machete, the slasher genre, and then I like psychological thrillers too. Where
yeah, yeah.
you're not really sure, right?
Mhm.
What's happening? Is it real? Is it not? The mystery stuff. But I'm with you, man. I'm you and I could have a movie night together, and we would never have to worry about being scared because we wouldn't watch the stuff that scares us.
Oh yeah.
Um, now let me ask you this. In regards to the Insidious films, I could open this up. Anything, honestly. I'd like to know, do you have a favorite stunt from the films that you coordinated or you performed yourself that you look back and say, "Man, that was fun," or that was really an accomplishment?
Non-horror film best stunt ever is Ballistic X versus Sever, 150 feet with a camera strapped above me under the roof of the car. And I mean, it is
Oh,
just so incredibly cool. My idol, Dar Robinson, did that similar where he's on stick and he's playing the albino and he's hanging on to the rafters and he lets go and he falls back and there's people walking below him and you just see him shooting on the way down and it's just like no airbag, no safety bag, it's all on a wire. And
oh man.
that was probably the scariest but most exciting and fun stunt that I did on a couple of occasions on that day. I think we did 3 times. And there's no room for error, but it is just a
No.
cool stunt.
Wow,
That's
that 150 feet?
150 feet, and then there's a
Oh,
big camera box strapped above me, and the camera literally just falls with me. So it's
whoa.
yeah.
Man, I gotta ask you, when you finish a stunt like that, because again, this is beyond my realm of comprehension. I would never even I could never do anything like this. When you get done with it and you land that stunt and you're safe, you're walking away from it. I just have to ask, is that adrenaline just is it just pumping every time? Or do
It,
you begin to get normal almost with it?
you know,
Like,
you never do. Any stunt guy that is lackadaisical about it, fear keeps you alive. Fear keeps you on your
yeah.
feet. When I do a high fall, no matter how many times you do it, there's the fear, and the fear is what keeps you on your toes and makes you think. As I
Yes.
said,
Yes.
the problem with a stunt that you're on wires or something and you're a passenger for, it's out of your hands. I've
Wow.
overcorrected. I did another 150-foot fall into an
Mm.
airbag, and the bag was black, and there were lights. And I rehearsed it a couple of times from 50 feet, from 75, from 90, so that I always have a sense of where it was. And on the day, as I go out the window, as I go, I can't see anything. I have no idea where the bag is because the window's back further compared to where the ledge was that I stepped off of.
Oh.
And I'm going blind, and there's a point that you can actually feel yourself accelerate. And as I did that, I thought, rotate. I'm rotating a good 50 feet above the bag. And I'm
Oh my
coming
word.
at this angle, and I went,
Yeah.
oh shit. As soon as I hit the bag, I went into
Oh.
a ball. That, I think, kept me from getting my back broken or worse,
Oh
because you do not
gosh.
want to go in feet first. But see, that was, I'm in control. I
Yeah.
can
Yes.
maneuver, I can think, and I know that I'm off. And I know
Yes.
that I'm coming in too deep. So as soon as I was like on top of it, I balled up.
Wow.
And
Man.
that I
But
couldn't
that's
do with cables. That I can't, if
that's
something
true.
happens, the cable snaps, you're free fall.
Mhm. Oh
So,
gosh. I can't
yeah.
even. And but you're working here in seconds though, right? That fall is happening. I don't know how fast, like in miles per hour in terms of that, like you're falling, but you're having to make these decisions like this,
Oh,
right?
you do.
Like,
You immediately go into a reactionary mode that what if
yeah,
you can't just ragdoll it. You've got to think through
right.
it. I mean, I got hurt on a Clint Eastwood film, The Changeling, that
Hmm.
um, I had to jump across from one rooftop to another, and I had to catch this piping while the bad guy was getting away. And we had one of my airbags there on that day as well. And I had guys on a safety wire holding me so
Okay.
that if I hit, I wouldn't fall, because from there, if I fell, even with an airbag below me, I would be out of control because I would have slammed into something and moved. So we
Ah,
checked everything, and I kept saying, don't do anything unless you see me miss. If I miss,
yeah.
pull in. The minute I jumped, they pulled the cable, brought me across, my legs slammed in, I hyperextended my legs.
Ah,
Because I'm on a cable, even though I'm doing the jump on my own, I lost control of the stunt because the stunt safety team took over and decided it's best to pull. And they were just reacting off the jump and not where I was.
oh my
And you could
goodness.
hear everybody down below go, whoa, whoa, because you could see me go whang on it. And it was just,
Oh,
yeah.
now let me ask you this: if you had landed on one of the older airbags, not the one you designed, do you think the outcome would have been different for you?
Well, that was in an airbag. I
Oh,
did
okay.
land, that was a wire thing. The airbags were below for safety in case.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
got in case that failed or something.
Yeah, but
Got you.
the
Okay, okay,
airbag I did the 150-foot fall into was one of Paul's,
okay.
and it was good, but the one I made is better. Um,
Yes,
but I still wanted to go closer to the middle on Paul's bag at that time.
sure.
My bag just tends to have more room for error now, the one I built. With
And
that
I saw
70.
the demo, Scott, of that bag when you were, and
Oh
kind of
yeah,
doing the test. And I mean, and I remember there was a female that jumped from up there, and you mentioned her like, leave your head where it is, like don't move.
she was so off center that any other
Yes,
bag she would have gone to the ground. There's no
yeah.
question about it.
Yeah, and what was fascinating for me, just watching it, was I see what you're talking about. Like when she landed, that bag closed up. It like cocooned her. It folded in to protect her, to prevent her from just flying out. And I
Yeah.
thought that was amazing to see it actually working. Like what how yours is different. And that's got to make these all of these stunt performers feel better when they do these jumps. It has to make them feel a little more comfortable with
You
that,
would
having
hope.
your
Now, let
yeah.
me ask you this: if I send you a video, can you
Okay.
see it, or does it have to be a?
If you like an MP4 or like an actual video file.
A video file.
Yeah, I should be able to do that. If you could, yeah, you could email that to me, my email. Uh-huh.
Okay, hold on, because I've got
Yeah.
that stunt.
Go around the other side. Heading off.
Yeah, I've got that stunt I just talked about. It's a short
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, sure. That'd be
'Cause
great. I could do
it
that.
won't let me drag it. It won't let me drag it into the chat area.
Oh, no, it won't. It won't. It's if it's an actual video file, if you could just
Let
reply
me
to
see
my
how big it
email
is. Let
and
me see how
attach
big
it.
it is. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to show some images here. Again, guys, here's Scott. Look at these. Look at these things, man. These falls.
Yeah, this is too big a file to.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's 50 megs, and it won't do as an email.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Um,
Darn. I wonder. Let's see. Is that that's not on that link you sent me, is it by chance? Is that part of that package, you think? I can try to.
Let me try YouTube. YouTube.
Look here, guys. Look here again. Jumping from this exploding tower. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys in the chat, but this stuff here is just wow. I couldn't even imagine doing this type of stunt work at all. Wow. This takes a special person, and the fire stunts. I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh, that is just. Whew. Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, let me go to.
It's cool as heck when you watch it, but it's one thing for us to watch it when we're kicking back in our living rooms. It's another thing to be the one burning on camera. Oh man, wow.
You know what? One second. Let me see if I can do this because I can. While we're talking, I know I can send you
Sure.
this. 1 second. Let me go to.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, we transfer.
And guys, yeah, keep on sending your questions in if you have for Scott. This is a really, really special opportunity. Scott has done some amazing work on amazing films. Again, over 150 films in his career. And there are movies you're going to know. You're going to know most of these movies. Some of them are iconic films. So this is a rare opportunity, you guys. You can ask some questions for Scott. Send those in. We're not going to be able to stream all night long. So
No.
there will be, we know we can't do that. So there's time is going to come soon that we are going to have to start working our way towards the exit door, which is never fun, but it's necessary. I respect Scott's time. So make sure you guys send your questions in now. If you have any that you haven't asked yet, this is the time to do it. And I'll be putting some of those up. While Scott's doing this, real quick, I want to acknowledge Talking Star Wars is 4 months today. As being a channel member, your anniversary. Thank you so much for your support. And quickly, also, Russell is celebrating 4 months today as a channel member. And says, welcome to the Cravenites, Scott Leva. Hope everyone is doing great. And this is an awesome interview. Still Nation rules. Awesome. Thank you, Russell. We appreciate that.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
On the private chat, send me your
Okay.
email. I'm having
Sure.
trouble getting into my email on my laptop.
Of course, of course.
Where the heck am I?
No
Okay,
worries.
So send me that real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. There you go.
Okay, hold on.
Sure.
Connection.
What's up, Wrestling God? Welcome to the stream. And I'll say hi to Katie real quick. I'll say hi to some folks real quick. Russell, of course, and Eric and Katie and Polar. Good to see you all here. Paula. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Deontay. Great to see you. And Jason, the nice one. And Carrie Crave Cinema. So glad you're all here for this amazing time with Scott. Hope you're all enjoying this. I know you are. I know I sure am. All right. Very cool.
Oh, shoot. Okay, went to my Gmail account.
Okay.
Almost there. This is a small file for WeTransfer.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay. Sure. Yeah.
you'll get this within seconds.
No problem.
WeTransfer. Let me put in the code. They make
Hey,
you work.
Dino. Yeah, no worries, Scott. You're good. No worries, man.
2, 2, 5,
Dino
7.
says, I'm just listening to the great conversation. Awesome, Dino. Glad you're enjoying it.
Okay, so check your email within.
Okay.
It's almost there.
All right.
Less than a minute.
No problem.
Oh, that I can send you. Wait a second. It'll come out.
Sure.
Come on.
Listen, man, we have all the time in the world, man. No rush. Whatever you'd like to do, we're here for it. So we'll get that in here. Yeah, and you guys, don't forget, while we're getting these files for you guys, Polar's put the link to Scott's website. Be sure this would be a great time to pop over and check it out while we're getting this stuff coordinated. PrecisionStunts.com. Bookmark it. Spend some time there. It's really great. Lots of clips, information about Scott and his career. It's really good. Really good stuff. And his YouTube. Thank you, Polar. There's his YouTube channel as well. All right. Let me check my mail here real quick. And I do see it. There it
Good.
is.
So download that. It'll take you about 10 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know if you could show that or not.
Hopefully so. Let me see here. It's downloading right now.
It'll take seconds.
Beautiful.
Let me see how long.
Download. Oh yeah, I see it downloading right now. There we go.
Oh, it doesn't show the stunt me going to. Maybe it does. Wait.
Okay. Whoops. Show me the folder. Okay. All right. I see it here. This is the changeling scene. Okay. Open this up.
Let me see if it shows that jump. Oh, I think they cut the jump out of this. That's too bad.
Oh.
They do the fall into my bag, but then there's an actual shot.
I do see the fall onto the truck.
Yeah, no, they sent me this copy because they cut it out of the movie for time.
Oh, got you. Well, we still can show this. This is great. Yeah.
But there's one shot that actually you could see me hit that, and it was like, oof.
Oh, ouch. Let me upload that right now. This is a real treat here to get to see this unused unseen clip from the movie. And this is from The Changeling with Clint Eastwood, correct?
Clint Eastwood directed, and
yeah. Perfect. Okay, it's uploading now. Give me 1 second. We'll put that on full screen for everybody. Okay. All right. So what I'll do, Scott, here is I'll play the clip, and then when it's done, or would you like? Is there anything you want to set up before I play it, or would you rather talk about it after we see it?
Basically, this guy's been kidnapping children and killing them, and Angelina Jolie's son goes missing, based on a true story, by the way. And he goes to Canada to go with his sister, and her sister calls in the Mounties. I'm one of the Mounties. And we go up to chase him. He goes out of a window, and we do a rooftop chase sequence. We had a double for the actor in a couple of scenes. All the rigging is mine. As the actor goes out the window, I've got him rigged. So I'm doing double duty. I'm playing a Mountie, and I'm also doing safety and rigging and setting up the jumps and the leaps and everything else.
Man, so you're not only having to be in the moment of the scene, you're also be thinking, oh gosh, I hope this goes right. Like everything's set right. I mean, right? I mean, it's got to be all that going on at the same time. I would
It is.
imagine.
It's interesting because when I talked to Buddy and we were finding people, I took Buddy aside because I was working with Buddy again.
Hmm.
And I said, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I want to be one of the Mounties in the chase. And you're, are you sure? And I said, oh God, yeah. I said, I got to do this. So he said,
Yeah.
okay. And even Clint, there's scenes where you see a point of view. That's me running with the camera behind them.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
jumping and holding the camera. And Clint says, if you don't want to do this. I said, no, I'm good. I'm up here. That's what I get paid for.
That's
So,
awesome.
and when they cut this out of the movie, the Directors Guild, one of the unions I am proud to be a member of,
Yes.
they did a screening and they do a Q&A with Clint afterwards. And then I went up to say hi. And he goes, hey, Scott, how are you? And I'm good. He says, man, I'm sorry we cut that. And, you got hurt. And I said, no, it was your movie. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, but I feel bad.
Oh, that's. I'm sure he did, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited here to see this full
I'm
clip.
in it with all I say is cut him off in the back. And then all this other stuff you see,
Yeah.
all that stuff's been cut out. None of that made it.
Oh. Well, guys, you're going to see an exclusive here. This is great. This is some unused. A clip that was not in the movie, and you're probably not going to find it. I would imagine it's not going to be easily ready, to find. Right? Not easy to
No,
find.
I never put that on YouTube.
It's fantastic. Well, guys, here's an exclusive. This is a real treat on top of a treat for us. So I'm going to play the clip. It's about 36 seconds. I'll go full screen so you guys can see it nice and big. And then we'll come back and Scott can comment a little bit more on some of the stuff we've seen. So here we go, guys. Enjoy this never before released clip from Clint Eastwood's The Changeling, where Scott is in it and he's got the rigging. It's all him. He's making this scene work. So here we go. Enjoy this clip. Here we go.
Go around the other side. Cut him off.
Goodness, man.
So we did a fall. That fall you see us come on, me and the other stunt guy, doubling him, me doubling myself, go into my airbag. Clint had a nice discussion with me. So what does your bag do again? And I explained that I felt safe that no matter where we hit on the bag, the two of us, and I talked the other stunt double through what to do. I said, just stay with me. Keep your head on my shoulder. Don't go face to face. We may bump, but you'll be fine. And just trust me. And no matter what I do, don't pull away. And one take, we got it.
One take. Wow.
Yeah, prior to that, I leap across and I get banged into a pole. I've got that on video somewhere, but I have to dig for it. So.
Oh, wow. That was a real honor. Thank you for that clip. That's so cool. And everyone in the chat is loving it as well. Polar says, wow, I'm surprised they cut that. I know.
It was a long film and he was cutting stuff. And the fact that he even kept me, go up and cut him off at the back. That was the only thing that the chase sequence, he was cutting stuff back. And he said he hated cutting it, but stuff had to go.
Oh, Two Boys says, amazing how some things they cut out really should be in the movie. It's true. But, and I know that's got to be such a difficult position when a studio says, the powers that be, okay, you got 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm just making up a number. And you have to fit it in. You may have 3.5 hours of footage or 3 hours, and that's so tough. I can only imagine. Wow. Well, guys, I know we're getting Scott, let me ask you this. Can we go a little longer or do we need to wrap now? You tell me.
It's up to you. If you got some stuff, go ahead. I mean, it's not my time, so it's still early for me.
Well, thank you. Okay. So guys, we're going a little longer than even planned. That's very generous of Scott. So continue to send your questions in. I have a few more I'd love to ask as well. So let's talk about here for a little bit. I wanted to ask you this question because you mentioned earlier about the budget, and it's true. So, and for those in the audience, you may not be aware of this, but the first two Insidious films combined, all right, I'm putting them together, The budget to make both of these movies together was $6.5 million for 2 movies. First one was like million and a
Not even a
half.
million. No,
Not even a million. Okay, not even a
no,
million.
no.
There you go.
It was super low budget. As I said, we were on a $263.
Oh,
The second one was like 5 point something million, almost 6 million, because I think Insidious
yep.
was shot at 500,000. Insidious 2, they had a much bigger budget, but then it broke the box office. It was phenomenal.
Yes,
But
it did. Well, and it's so true.
yeah,
Deontay says, "Wow, that's a good job
yeah.
on that clip, Scott." It's awesome. Yeah, so check this out. So you're right. The combined box office sales for both films together was $262 million, and we're talking $6 million, 6.5 million tops budget for both films combined.
Mhm.
And I want to ask you. I mean, of course, obviously that's a massive success, insane. And I just wanted to ask, how does it feel for you, knowing that you played such a significant part and bringing both of these films to life, making them believable to the audience through the execution of your stunt work? And how does that feel to be a part of such a successful story as that? It reflects on you as
It's
well.
interesting. I mean, the fact that it was such a big hit.
Yeah.
In some cases, it was just another job, because there's some movies I worked on to this day I hear about.
Mm-hmm.
I can be, there are things out there that I could be on some big films, worked with some of the biggest directors around, and some guy would go, "Oh my God, you did the Toxic Avenger." And I go,
Yes.
yeah, and then it's like, oh, and they're more excited over the Toxic Avenger, or the thing
Yep.
I mentioned before. I'm associated with Spider-Man, so oh my God, you were on the cover, and you this and that, and I mean, so I could win an Academy Award. I can work with Clint Eastwood, Steven Spielberg, but Toxic Avenger, Spider-Man. I've yet to have anybody go, "Oh my God, you worked on Insidious." Now, don't get me wrong; it's a good movie, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't think it was going to do bupkis at the box office, thank God it did.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but the fact that I got to work on something, and there are movies you work on that stay with you, that are part of you, that were fun. James Wan is a really good guy to work with.
Mm.
X-Men was a nightmare. It
Really?
really was a nightmare. It just
Wow.
there's a sequence. It was so tough. There's a sequence that was put on a DVD Easter egg where the X-Men run out, and then Spider-Man runs up behind him, and everybody starts laughing. And oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's completely the wrong movie. That was me. I dressed up as Spider-Man, and that was part of just kind of to ease tensions.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some movies that you work on that are just fun, that you enjoy being a part of. And so it doesn't matter how big the budget. So Insidious was a low budget film, but there was a camaraderie. Clint Eastwood, you feel like you're working for family.
Yeah.
Spielberg, big budget. I mean, throwing money around incredibly, but you're in awe of the man. And as far as you're concerned, he can do no wrong. So Insidious, definitely along that line. There's a definite, these guys all worked with James before. They like James, they work with James, they know James. And there was that well-oiled machine that I became a part of, and I became one of the cogs in it that worked well with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And I just love hearing those stories too, because, and people, and I always say it like this, your reputation is really your credibility. Those things all are huge, right? And knowing that this is a professional who comes in, does the work, great attitude, and that's a lot of mileage. I mean, that carries you a long way in any profession.
Mm-hmm.
And the stunts are no different, right? The directors want to work with people that work with them, right? They don't want to have to be doing this all day long, combating each other without, that's not what they're looking for. And when you find that niche, like you say, a family kind of feel, man, I would imagine just that environment fosters better work for everybody. And
Oh, it absolutely does. You like to be there. You like to be a part of it. You look forward to going to work.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it is a job, no matter how you look at it. And as I
Mhm.
grew up in the industry and grew older, it's like pilots. You want a good pilot. He should be the one with
Yeah.
the red hair that's been around. Um, it's knowing your craft and realizing some of the things I did when I started out, I was lucky, and I do mean I was lucky,
Mhm.
because something could have gone wrong. The problem is you're in the situation where it's a movie, nobody gets hurt. It's all make believe.
Yes.
And then you got a
Yes.
helicopter dropping on the main actor and two kids, and then you've got
Oof.
an actor being shot. You've got things that happen that the next thing you know, it becomes a reality that
Mhm.
somebody gets severely injured or killed on a set. And you start to look at things like stunt guys get hurt, stunt guys get killed. It becomes with the territory. But the reality is, it is make believe, and you want to take it and you want to make it as safe
Yeah.
as you can. It is fun, but you
Mhm.
take it serious. And no matter what you do, also, you're open to things. Going back to Insidious, we had a sequence where the actor is supposed to be thrown across the floor, and he slides across the floor. The creature hits him and he literally slides across the floor.
Okay.
And I had him on a cable and it just wasn't working. So I slicked the floor down and I told the stunt guy, I want you to run and I want you just to hit it. And this guy whoosh across the floor. And James goes, that's it. It was
Oh,
easier
nice.
to take the actual physical force.
Yep.
But, James looked at it, but it looked more like the guy was being pulled instead of shoved. So
Mhm.
let's do a physical force. But you work
Wow.
on it. And so instead of screaming, oh, why isn't this working or something else? You work it out and you present it to him and he looks at it and goes, yeah, that works. So
Yes.
again, doesn't matter if it's a multi-million-dollar budget or if it's
That's
again,
right.
I couldn't pay for much off of what I was making on the movie, but it was fun to work on, and I was there every day,
Mhm.
whether
Yeah.
doing what I needed to do.
And look at the result. I mean, it was insane success. I mean, my gosh, what a
How many of
tremendous.
them made sense? I mean, dear God,
Oh,
Insidious and
I
things.
know. They just did a new one this year, the Red Door.
Yeah, yeah.
They're still making the city's films. It's
Mhm.
phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, Now, real Scott, I'll move a little brief here on these, but I do want to just, if we could, quickly touch on a couple of more films. And I remember seeing this one in the theater when it came out. It was the sequel to The House on Haunted Hill, which the original was from the Vincent Price amazing black and white film, which I own, and it's so good, from 1959. And now we're going to an insane asylum. And in the same premise, $1 million to spend the night kind of scenario. I would like you to, if you could, how did that opportunity come about for you to work on that film? And what specifically did you work on while you were in the film?
I was mainly stunt safety on that.
Okay.
I'm known for rigging and safety. Um, Thankfully, I got some experience with Cirque du Soleil, and I learned more about rigging than most people would ever forget.
Wow.
That's the other thing is saying you're a rigger and rigging and tying a rope. Cirque actually has you be certified. You have to be OSHA certified. If you tie
Wow.
knots or you splice, they have to be sent off and tested, and then you're approved and certified on that. So
Man.
I'm good at rigging safely and setting up.
Hmm.
And we had to hang. It was a stunt double. Clay Fontenot was doubling one of the leads. Um, Again, forgive my stupidity. I forget the black actor's name. Very talented. Clay doubled him.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, and it's on the
Because
tip of my
there's a
tongue.
hanging sequence. Well, I rigged the hanging. Same
Yes.
hanging I did in Changeling. I rigged the hanging where he gets executed. Um,
Nice.
the Most of the wire work, most of the safety stuff. I mean, I was there for that. I did something else on the movie as well. I don't remember. A friend of mine, Greg Brazil, was a stunt coordinator. It was his first second unit job. And so
Okay.
he was a little uptight, and I kind of was his right-hand man for a while on it, covering and so forth. But I
Okay.
didn't blame him for being uptight because it was kind of a big gig for him. So
Yeah.
some all kind of folds into one. The
Sure.
Insane
Sure.
Asylum, which a lot of that was second unit, I worked with Greg with.
Okay.
I didn't work a lot of first unit except where we did the hanging. That was the first unit.
And that was, I think you're talking about Tay Diggs, right?
Tay Diggs, thank you.
Yes, Tay
It was
Diggs. Yep,
Tay Diggs, thank you.
that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was wow. Um, and speaking of second unit, just so that just so that we have a better understanding, and the audience gets a better understanding, can you explain what like a second unit versus like what is the main focus versus the first unit? How is that differentiated?
Well, the best way to describe it that it was set up for originally, your first unit deals with the story and the actors. Second unit, you can do action sequences. Now, they're not always action. It could be a close-up
Mhm.
of a glass. It could be a close-up of a pencil or a piece of paper. That's all second unit.
Okay.
So instead of first unit shooting that, but in most cases where you've got an intricate car chase sequence or you've got a firefighter or something, if they're tight with time, you'll have a
Okay.
second unit that shoots all this action stuff, and then you bring in the first unit that puts the actors in the car, the actors in the gunfight. Sometimes
Okay.
you have the actors come over and work on second unit with you, and you break it down specifically with the director what you want and how you're going to do it, so that it
Okay.
is. But literally called a second unit. Some cases it's called a splinter unit, where it's such a small little unit, you and maybe a couple of camera people go off and
Wow.
shoot all the little sequences. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense.
But it's fully, it's a second unit. It's a director. You're still a director, and you're
Oh
covered by the
yeah.
Directors Guild of America. So
Well, not only that, I mean, a lot of those scenes, I mean, those can be very, very important scenes. It's not like they could have a lot of importance to the plot,
mm-hmm.
to the atmosphere, the tone, all that stuff. So absolutely. And hey, we got a super chat, $2 super chat. Thank you, Eric, for supporting the channel, man. So Scott, did you get to talk stunt shop with Clint?
A little bit, to the fact that Clint would be very quiet about certain things. Like we talked about my airbag, um, but he would be very, very quiet about certain things. Clint and I share a close birthday. I think he's May 30th or 31st, and I'm May 29th. And we were shooting Letters from Iwo Jima, and he was sitting there thinking, and we were talking, and he was looking straight ahead. And I mentioned something about sharing birthdays, and he just kind of nodded, got up, and walked away. It wasn't being rude. He just had other stuff. When we were on Letters from Iwo Jima, we would work out stunt sequences like when I was covering for Buddy.
Okay.
I had just won the Academy Award before we were working there, and they were teasing me about it. And Clint comes over and goes, "Oh, big man now. I kind of won one of those." I said, "What are you talking about? What did you win? 3, 4 of those things? You're busting my buddy." He goes, "Oh, yeah. You didn't win a People's Choice Award, though, did you, huh?"
That's awesome.
Stunt talk would be setting a shot. When we were shooting Flags of Our Fathers, there was this huge mountain in Iceland. Clint took a helicopter to the top, and a lot of the crew that didn't have to carry stuff, we all were walking up. And it took about 45 minutes to an hour to walk up this huge mountain incline to
Wow.
historically accurate to bring out that flag.
Yes.
And Buddy, who has been around forever, he doubled Guy Williams in Zorro. He's done all the Eastwood films. He's been around forever.
Wow.
Is missing a lung, has a fused ankle, not a young
Man.
man. We get to the mountain. He looks up at me and he goes, "Damn it, Scott, get up to the top, set up the shot, and just tell them I'll be along." And I said, "Buddy, you don't have to." No, just tell them. So this man is going to walk up this mountain, and we're having a hell of a time walking up. I
Oof.
get to the top of the mountain, and I come over, and so Clint says, "So what is it we're doing here?" I said, "I've got 4 stunt guys, all your Japanese guys. I got Steve, I've got Simon, I got all this stuff, and we were setting all this stuff up. And I said, he gets shot, and over here and here and here. He says, okay, so we shoot him, we shoot him, we shoot him. Okay, so good. So that's a good thing. So that would be the stunt shop I would talk with Clint. This is a specific shot. And then Clint turns to me and kind of a snide little remark goes, oh, so where's Buddy? And I said, well, Buddy will be coming. And right as I point off to the side, literally like John Wayne, Buddy lifts up at the top of the mountain. And we couldn't have timed it better. And Clint's like, whoa. And then he said, if you could do me a huge favor, force that man to take the helicopter down with you. She said, yeah, don't worry, I got it. But they've had a long history. He would tease Buddy. There was a definite relationship. He was very focused. He would kid sometimes, you know, but he did compliment me a couple of times about like when I did the shot in Iceland on flags. He said, that was a really good job you did, you know. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Overall, the only stunt shop we talked would normally be if it had to do with so like the hanging. I would explain the hanging sequence to him and what I was doing and why he was going to look like he was being hung and not on a harness. So things like that would interest him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure that fully answers his question, but
I think so. That was fantastic, and such neat little nuggets that you're sharing with us, and that's just so cool. I don't care, you know, whether it's hard or not. This is fascinating, man. We're going where the conversation leads, and I'm okay with that, Scott. I'm totally okay with that. This is so great. Thank you, Eric, for your great question and your support for the channel, my friend, as always. And then Eric followed up saying, we're getting the juicy stuff. Yeah, we are. This is great stuff. This is I love that story. Like when you said here, he's coming, and he's like, he's like right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. And to be complimented by Clint Eastwood, I mean, that had to be, you know, a very special moment. I mean, it would have been for me. That's a huge deal.
As we worked, the more we worked, the more I felt like becoming part of the Eastwood family. Good thing I was nervous around him. We had a sequence where I had these stunt guys tethered off, and they had to be in the water where these vehicles were coming up. They were kind of tread tank-like vehicles. I can't remember the landing vehicle names. And I had to keep the stunt guys from going underneath them. And so I had everybody rigged off so that nobody would, and they just float there. So you see the bodies floating because like Private Ryan, there was just a massive massacre. Soldiers came to the beaches of Iwo Jima. And this was my first day on first unit with Clint.
Okay.
Everything else, Buddy was there. And this was, Buddy was doing second unit and I was on first. And I'm working there, the legend.
Yes.
And he yells down to me, hey, Scott. I look up at him. He goes, everybody's safe here, right? I go, yeah. The only thing that comes through my mind is not the job. I go, he knows my name.
I don't blame you.
You know, that was like the first week we worked there. And then as we got there, like the fire stunts we did, he would ask questions about that. And Buddy wanted to do a specific fire stunt where it was cut from the movie where the guy with the flamethrower gets hit and blown up.
Wow.
And then Clint was very concerned about Buddy. And he says, oh, can you talk him out of it? And I looked at him and said, can you? Oh, yeah, okay, I got it. But we had a fire gel, which you can put on. And I also had these masks made that are screaming masks. They're not just fire masks. They had these weird looking screaming with fake teeth and everything, but it looked real. And with fire on them, it looked like a man on fire and not like a big fire suit.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. And then there's a picture of him somewhere, but it might be on the website, but you'll see the guy screaming as he's on fire. But those are masks, and they're just piling the gel on. They're very nervous about it. And I said, oh, dear God, and this is this big gooey gelatin kind of white stuff. And I said, oh, dear God, this thing's looking like a porno. You're putting too much on.
Yeah.
And Clint goes, hey, porno is good. I said, okay, well.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. But
Wow.
it was good. I felt, communicated with him. I could talk to him.
Yeah.
So it
Wow.
was
That's
one of the best experiences of my life was working with Eastwood.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's what did you recall? Has it been a long time since you talked to him or seen him? Has it
It's
been
been years. Buddy kind of retired and kind of moved on. He's not doing a lot. He's doing the Juror right now. Well, we're on strike, so he's not.
Mhm.
Buddy passed away a couple of years ago,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and kind of when Buddy stopped doing, we stopped doing as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, so I haven't. I have a feeling if I were to see him again, he would probably be remember me and very open. I've got a couple of actors
Yeah.
I work with a good relationship with. Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
We're friends with Paul Rubens, and I mean friends. I knew Paul. I was one of the guys he used to send birthday texts to, and he'd send them all day, little memes, little gifs, little
Oh.
videos, and you get a Christmas card which you cannot share with anybody. If you're on his
Wow.
Christmas card list, it's for you guys only. It's always a Pee Wee Christmas, which, by the way, I had a small part in the Pee Wee Christmas special because we were friends. I was a cook
Aw.
bringing in Grace's Jones box for the other person, but there were relationships and friendships that I could actually,
Yeah.
you know, that in the business once in a while you get. And Paul was definitely one of them. And Hugh Jackman, I love Hugh. Yeah, he's everything that Wolverine shouldn't be. He is. He shouldn't be 6'5". Um,
Mhm.
but he makes it work. So
Yeah, he does.
he's a really Dean Cain, very nice, very outgoing guy. So there are actors that you work with that you enjoy being with that don't give you an
Wow.
attitude or anything.
That's awesome, man. Right? Relationships are important,
Mm-hmm.
and that really, really are. Um, well, I just have to ask you, if I could, one more question here, and I know we're going on about to hit 2 hours, and I don't want to ever, um, like overextend your stay because my goal, Scott, is for this to be the start of a great friendship myself and
Appreciate
relationships,
it.
and that we could continue to
Mm-hmm.
be speaking in and moving forward and having you back, and
Mm-hmm.
because there's lots more stories to tell. I know there's so
I'm
many
literally
more.
writing a book, so I mean, we're just
Oh,
it's like
that's perfect.
mm,
Yes.
mm,
Well, I have to go back to 1982. And, I'm an 80s. I grew up on the 80s horror movies and The House on Sorority Row, the original, the 80s classic. When I saw that you were the stunt coordinator on that movie, I would love to just hear about that experience. Like can you kind of, I know it's a long time ago, but can you
it's
kind of
something.
walk us through it?
It's something I actually remember pretty well. The makeup artist that worked on Mother's Day
Okay.
um, told them that I would be the guy to use. Um,
Ah,
and I didn't really understand the whole slasher film thing. I mean, Mother's Day was a slasher film. I never really,
yes. Yep.
Um, and House on Sorority Row. Um, the director was a nice guy, easygoing. I doubled the clown in most of the sequences,
Oh, cool.
um,
Okay.
and there were some certain things that um, when he falls through this opening of the floor, which is kind of this stairway ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I had to kind of maneuver that, and I put all these pads because as I go down, you see kind of it's deep, but you don't really look down. There's one shot you actually see that how deep it is. But even though I was kind of new to the business, I was very safety conscious and padded,
Mm-hmm.
including was that the movie where the guy gets hit with a hammer in the jaw and he goes over the staircase?
I It's been a little while, but I think so.
Yeah, they
I believe
used
that's the
a
one.
rubber prosthetic. I was doubling the
Yep.
guy, and the same thing. I padded the stairway because
Okay.
every fall I ended up in the movie was a tight fall,
Mhm.
and I had to go over the rail. Rails are, by the way, really dangerous because they can suck you in. That's what happened with my friend Paul. He stepped in and came in low and deep from the bag. But I remember padding certain aspects of it so that even if I clipped it, and there, if you see the scene, you'll see as I clip it, a sound blanket kind of move in the shot. So as I come, I actually hit the rail, and you'll
Okay.
see a little bit of the sound blanket that I wrapped around it lift.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look for that next time.
You
Just a
can't
little.
miss it now that I told it.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. You can't. Right.
Yeah. So it's when
That's
the guy
okay.
takes the hit, and I think they catch him with a hammer under the chin, because this whatever this guy is, he's killing everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't know remember if he's a professor or what he is. He's got glasses, but the guy attacks him and hits him with a hook hammer, and then I go over the stairs. And also, as a ground creature, I also had a tight thing, but I would pad the hell out of that because I had a feeling I was going to hit some heavy wood on the way down. And
Ooh.
yeah.
Wow, that's really cool, man. I mean, I'm excited. Like, I want to go this week and rewatch that again. It's been a while. I really do. I got to see it again now, for sure. And then, hey, you got another super chat for $2. Thank you, Eric. Says Scott, we appreciate your time and amazing stories. Oh, so true. We really do, Scott. It's the real treat for me and all of my Cravenites, my audience. Yes, precisionstunts.com. Again, guys, that's where you can go. I would encourage you all, whether you're watching it live or on the replay tomorrow, whenever you see this, go visit his website. I've watched it. I mean, I visited a few times, and I really like it. It's good stuff, good clips, stories, information about Scott and his career. Go check it out for sure. Now, Scott, I have to just throw this in, and I promise I have 2 questions after this, and I'm done. I'm done. Okay. Police Academy 6, man. Please. I call it a guilty pleasure movie. I love it. I could watch it over and over. I own all the Police Academy films on Blu-ray, and that's one that I just, how there's some movies you can just turn it on and just doesn't matter. You're watching it. If it's on, you're watching it. That's one for me. And so I would love to hear what you did so that when I watch it next time, I can be looking for you or your work.
One of the bad guys I doubled in the movie.
Okay.
As a stunt guy early on, before pandemic, before 9/11, you do what's called hustling, where you show up to the set and you meet the stunt coordinator and you try to get a job. And a really good stunt guy by the name of Jim Arnett was the stunt coordinator. I love Jim. He also did Rocketeer, and I was fortunate enough to work on Rocketeer. Dave Stevens was a friend of mine. And when I say friend, I could have conversations and talk to him, and I knew his ex-wife, Brink Stevens.
Okay. Wow.
So there's a lot of things. I got a history with Marvel, friends with Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, John Romita, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
So
That's
there
great.
are relationships and stuff. But Police Academy, Jim literally said, "Oh yeah, no, I can use you. Go see Wardrobe." And I'm like, "Whoa, that rarely happens." So I went down, I saw Wardrobe, and there's the bad guys in the film. One of the guys robs a bank and he does a front flip over the counter. That's my guy. Anything that's physical. When he's fighting the, I think it was it Bubba Smith? Who's the
Bubba Smith? Yep.
I think the fight was with him, not the guy that did all the sound effects.
Yes, that's Michael Winslow or Wilson.
I don't think it was Winslow. I think my fight was with Michael.
Okay.
I don't remember. But there's a scene where we're doing a kung fu fight inside of a warehouse, knocked into shelving, and then we jump up and he kicks me in the face as we fly through the air.
Yes.
So we had all of that, and I got to double the bad guy. The bad guy was a gymnast as well and really wanted to do the flip over the desk himself. And I worked with him, and he just kept getting scared. And I finally said, when we roll camera, I know you can do it, but you're going to have to let me do it, because if the cameras mess you up, you can get hurt. So at one point I got him to be able to flip and just make it, and I was spotting him. he goes, okay, no, I can at least say I did it. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's where you work with the actor. You don't say no, no, no. But I did know that your adrenaline can rush and you can kind of lose your focus. And the last thing I wanted to do was hurt my actor.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, it was fun. We did the whole bank robbery sequence. He runs, flips over. That's me running and flipping over, and
Oh, it's
all
so
the fight
cool.
sequences. That's me, and all the main stuff and chases and everything else. It was a nice run. It was good to work, and I ended up
Yeah.
getting to know Jim Arnett and really like Jim Arnett. So
Now, did you get an opportunity during the course of filming and when you weren't filming, when it was time to have lunch, whatever, did you get any opportunity to hang out with Michael Winslow or Bubba Smith or any of the, Hightower?
we would get to sit. I usually sat with my actor and those people. We would
Hmm.
say hi to them. Probably outside of Eastwood and Spielberg, one of the best hangouts after was I did a movie called Robin Hood Men in Tights, where I
Yes.
played the bad guy. I played one of the bad knights, but I also doubled Carrie Elwes. And if you
Yeah.
see a picture with me, Mel Brooks, and Carrie, I look like Carrie's twin. And
Oh my gosh.
I got people coming up to me and complimenting me for the movie Lady Jane, and I said, "No, no, that's Carrie you're talking to." And
Oh, wow.
best food in the world. I mean, we had lobster and stuff, which is interesting. I mean, Mel is Jewish.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, to get off of Police Academy for a second and go to
Oh,
that
yeah. Oh,
interesting
yeah. Go
story
ahead.
is Carrie's character. Well, Robin Hood has to kick a knight, and they all go down like dominoes.
Hmm.
And as I'm swinging in, it gets a little hard because I have to hold this V position, and you're like doing these crunches all the time. I was in better shape then. And there's one time then he jumps and lets go of the rope. Well, I let go of the rope a little early and I came in high. And as I hit,
Mm.
I rolled in front handspring out of it just because I didn't want to look foolish
Wow.
by doing this. And Mel comes up to me and says, "Oh my God, that was fantastic." He said, what are you, Leva? Leva, that's Jewish, right? I said, no, no. I said, with this Jewish background. Oh, yeah, the Jews give the orders, the others take it. You're right. You're not Jewish. You're not Jewish. Um, there's a sequence, though, that I made a joke to him that I would repeat the same stunt. I said, but then your guys have to hold up 9.6, 10.7. He's, that's hysterical. They actually did it. They actually did it, and it's in the movie.
No. Are
It
you
is so
serious?
cool. I said it. I was kidding, but they did it.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was
That's
your
so cool.
reaction when you saw the sign?
I
When
thought
you
that's
saw the
so cool.
sign?
It's so cool that when somebody goes and does it, Police Academy,
Yeah.
I was a soldier, I was a follower. Mel, you could communicate with and felt more communicative with. I didn't feel close to the director or the actors so much as the ones I worked directly with on Police Academy. I liked
Okay.
working on it. It's a fun film. I
Mhm.
enjoy it. But I didn't have that sort of camaraderie to where I felt like I could say something.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. 'Cause yeah, I can you gotta have that rapport, right? You have to have that rapport of
Well, you can feel like you could say something, and
yeah.
again, I was saying it as a joke. I did that on Toxic
Right.
Avenger, where
Oh,
they meet in an alleyway. I'm setting stunts up as we go along. I'm literally making them up as we go along. And this big limo pulls up, and all the guys get out, one after another, like a clown car, and they all come out in the alleyway and surround him. And Lloyd Kaufman goes, "Oh, what's Toxie doing in the alleyway? Why would he be here?" I said, "He's peeing." "Perfect. He's peeing. I want smoke coming out." I was kidding. I was kidding. So I would do that a couple of times. Like, that's not my job. You
right?
figure out why. And so I made a joke, and sure enough, and the same thing with Mel Brooks makes a joke at me about not being Jewish, but at the same time, and so I said, "Oh, they should do this." And, yes, we're going to do that, but he didn't say we're going to do that. So
That's so great. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Now there's a scene in Toxic Avenger I have to bring up. It gets I don't know, it grossed me out so bad. It's when there was I don't remember the exact like point in the film that it happens, but he kills someone and he takes their intestines and jump ropes with their intestines. Does this ring any bells? It was like
Yeah, that's very trauma-esque. Is
Yeah.
you take Roger Corman and grossify it. Um,
Yes.
yeah, every little thing. Um, they would do certain things to where Toxie would go above and beyond and overboard. Um,
Yeah.
we had a sequence in a diner where these robbers come in and they shoot up the place and they shoot the blind girl's dog, and that's where Toxie meets his first girlfriend. Who
Mm-hmm.
was the producer's girlfriend in real life, by the way, not Lloyd or Michael, the producer that was funding the movie.
Ah.
And one of the bank robbers was missing his arm for real.
Oh.
And so we had a prosthetic. And then when you see him come in, you'll always see him with his arm straight by his side if you really pay attention. And during
Okay.
one sequence where he's doing all this martial arts, Toxie rips his arm off and then he beats him with his arm. I don't know if you remember that sequence.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
The guy was having difficulties with it. And I
Oh.
said, "How did you lose your arm?"
Mm-hmm.
And then he explained it was an accident on a train track that he had fallen. And he said, I was just shocked and just screaming. And I said, "Can you remember that?" I said, "Do that." And when you see him get his arm ripped off again, it is frightening because it's almost like he's reliving when he first lost his arm. And to me,
Wow.
that was more scary and effective than the jump rope
Yeah.
sequence or pulling guts out or all this other. Because if you
Yeah.
do rewatch that, and this guy's screams are just blood curdling.
Man.
Yeah, because it's almost realistic that he's literally getting his arm ripped off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta go. I'm gonna go watch that. Now I got so much homework to do. I gotta watch this one and this one and this one. But that's okay. That's fun. I love that. That is fascinating. And then I see we had a one last question from the chat. Eric, this is a great question here. Says if you could work on one film all over again, which one would it be?
That is a good question. If it was a different environment and looked at it differently, I would love to redo the X-Men. I would love to work on that again under a friendlier, more user-friendly atmosphere. I would like it to be easy to do, fun to do. I mean, we brought something historically that literally kicked off the comic genre. I did work on the first Superman.
Yep, that's right.
When Chris first walked out, for me, we were in the New York shoot, and the cape would come through and they would tie it underneath him and tie it around. This man walked out, and if you know comics, it was Kurt Swan's Superman. It was Superman. I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, holy shit, that is Superman. But I was a huge X-Men fan, and it was the most miserable film. And if I had the chance to do it all again and do it better, in a better environment, everybody getting along, not everybody being miserable and unhappy, and a lot were. I mean, I'm not saying anything that anyone who worked on it or even outside of it hadn't heard the stories. It could have been fun and it could have been exciting. Deadpool looks that way. When you look at Deadpool, I mean, to get Hugh Jackman back and to wear a yellow costume, for God's sakes, to bring him back means that there's something going on there that's fun.
That's
so if
right.
you want to do it, you want to do it right and you want to have fun. So that would be the only one that. Otherwise, to redo movies, to do them again, it would have to be either the Mel Brooks, Robin Hood, that was fun, or any Clint Eastwood film was phenomenally fun.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So cool, man. And let me ask you this: what advice would you give someone, like if there's someone in the audience or watching this, 6 months from now, this is going to be out there forever. If someone watches this and they're really inspired by your stories, your experiences, not even stories, their experiences, and everything that you've done to impact the industry in the stunt world, if they're inspired and like, yeah, I would like to try to get my way into this. Do you have any advice you could share in the current world and climate we live in the business to help them get started? What would they do? Should they do?
Well, learn everything you can about filmmaking. What made me a good director was working with good directors. You learn from Spielberg, you learn from Eastwood. You watch them. You watch the cameras. I know lenses. I know, oh, put a 50 here, put a 75 here. Learn everything you can about the industry and go in smart. If you want to do stunts, and it's getting difficult. A lot of what we're striking about are residuals, everything streaming. I can't make a living anymore the way I used to because of the way the pay is. The strike is not about the Tom Cruises and
Sure.
you know, it's about the people like myself that we
Right.
work below the line.
That's right.
And, you know, I lost my health insurance because they changed things and they took it
Ah.
away from us. That this doesn't count towards it anymore because I'm not earning during the pandemic. So everything I was told
Wow.
when we started. So to come in as more informed and be a filmmaker first, know your place and know the stuff. If you want to get into stunts, and a lot of it is going to be artificial intelligence. There's so much CGI. When you watch
man.
Spider-Man, the minute he puts on that suit, it's Spider-Man the animated movie. So
Wow.
there's so much stuff. Yes, it's exciting. Yes, it's well done, and it's getting better and better and better. But you need to be the best at what you do, physically, mentally, and you got to be willing to give it your all and everything else to where nothing else matters. I didn't get married until a much later day. You know, I got a wife, I got a daughter, I got a family.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from my mistakes. You know, there are no stupid questions; they're just stupid
No.
people. So you got to be careful how you handle things.
Oh yes. And on that note, you know, as far as like dangerous and like you say, you know, being smart about things. Paula had asked, "What was your most dangerous stunt for you that you would say over your career?"
Getting married. That would have been the fall on X versus Sever because I had no control, and that was something that I was a passenger, and if anything had gone wrong, the high fall out the window where it was a blind fall, absolutely no question about it, because it was, but I was more in control. The stunt that I had no control over, which was exciting. People actually thought the stuntman died. When I went to the Comic-Con and they were trying to talk about it, and in Chaos, the director, somebody said, "How do you feel that you did something that somebody died?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "No, the guy is actually sitting in the audience right now. What are you talking about?" So
Wow.
it wasn't dangerous and it wasn't scary, but that would probably be what I would consider the most dangerous stunt. The toughest stunt, God, that's a tough question. I did this movie, The Outdoorsters, where I doubled David Straighthairn, and he
Okay.
played Legion the Indian, and I had to roll down this hill, and I had to keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling because the
Oh.
comedy here was he trips, but you keep going and going, blah, 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 and I had to go in different parts, and the camera would move with you. And at one point, I actually hit a rock, and it was the only rock in the whole area, and I kind of bruised my hip real bad. But having to do that over and over and over,
Yeah.
that was tough. And thank God I was just starting out and I was young. I would not do
Yeah.
anything like that today.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Oh.
pat answer to, you know, what was your toughest stunt, or what was your worst stunt? You always say the last one, because you always say the next one because the last one you lived through, so it's the next one that would be your toughest stunt.
There you go.
The other ones you're fine. I do not do stunts as much. I'll do cars, I'll do fights, but I'm mainly as a second unit director coordinator now.
Wow. Well, you know, you've earned the right to do what you want to do, Scott. I mean, you know, you seriously, man. Jason says, "Thank you, Craven and Scott, for a wonderful stream. So much fun and informative, and a nice walk down memory lane." Oh, that's awesome.
No,
Yes,
that's cool.
indeed.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very cool.
Eric says, "So insightful, entertaining. Appreciate you, Scott, being here and sharing your amazing stories." Yes. Ditto to that. This was
Thank you.
so wonderful. This is so great. Last but not least, guys, remember, you can follow Scott at his website, www.precisionstunts.com. The links is in the chat. And Denisha, if you're still here, if you could post that link
Yeah,
one
you can
more
also
time.
do IMDb. I mean, if it'll tell you
That's
credits
true.
and stuff, so you're welcome to.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
IMDb as well. That's you can go to and you can see all of his films and TV work and everything that Scott has worked on. It's quite
Yeah.
extensive.
Yeah.
Um, and Polar says, "Thank you so much. I find these stunt stories to be fascinating. Yes, they really are. And so, Scott, I want to thank you again so much for spending this much time with us. It's really generous, and
No, my
it.
pleasure. It was a lot of fun. It really was. I'm glad I could remember a lot. So
Oh yes, and I feel like we just scratched the surface, man. We know we
yeah.
just scratched the surface. So Um, everyone in the chat, I want to say thank you to you too, of course, for being here. Everyone that's watching this on replay mode, enjoy. I know that you've got a great time watching and listening to Scott's amazing work and stories and his safety work. Everything, all of it is fantastic. Lady Luna says, "Thanks for being here, Scott. I missed a lot, but I'm going to catch the replay." Yep, there you go.
Very
That's
cool.
right.
Thank you.
Paula says, "Thank you for being here. It was an honor." All right. And Polar, thank you for putting the link again, precisionstunts.com. Guys, go bookmark it, visit it, and visit them on YouTube. And there's the address. You can just click it and go check out all of the videos that are there, his reels, everything. It's fascinating. So, Scott, I will meet you backstage. So just hang tight and we'll
Okay.
say goodbye in just a minute. But for the chat, I want to say good night to all of you. Thank you for being here for this very special stream. And I will remind you all before we sign off that my next stream is going to be this Monday with Zach Cherry joining me to talk about Scream 7 once in theory. So be sure you guys come back on Monday night and we'll continue having a great time. All right, guys. I'll see you in a minute, Scott. Hang tight. And in the chat, I will see you all on the next live stream. Have a great rest of your weekend. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey, you have been watching Craven Something Scary. This is Lee Waddell, the original Ghostface, thanking you for stopping by and checking it out.